When most people think of Bad Bunny, they have a very specific image in their head.
Oh, absolutely. The sunglasses, the wild fashion.
Right? The painted nails, the guy standing on top of a semi-truck performing for like 80,000 screaming fans in a massive stadium.
He is the definition of the global party icon.
Exactly. The guy who makes the soundtrack for Good Times.
It's the ultimate success story, really.
Yeah.
The grocery bagger who became the king of pop. It's perfect. It's shiny.
It is shiny. But here is where we need to pump the brakes on this deep dive. Because if you peel back that glossy layer, if you look past the billions of streams and the WW appearances, there is a much darker, much more complicated reality.
There always is.
Yeah. We aren't just talking about a guy who got lucky. For you listening, we are looking at a story involving serious legal trouble, a massive public breakdown that almost nobody talks about, and a secret history that nearly derailed his career before it even really started.
It is the classic iceberg problem. We are all dancing on the tip of the iceberg, but the jagged, dangerous part is underwater. And with Benito Antonio Martínez Ocasio Bad Bunny, that underwater part is where the real story is. This isn't just about music. It's a case study in psychological resilience and, frankly, the absolute brutality of modern fame.
And that is exactly what I want to get into today. I want to unpack the man behind the glasses, because looking at the trajectory here, it just doesn't make sense on paper.
Not at all.
You go from a poverty-stricken childhood in Puerto Rico to a $6 million record deal, and then bam, right at the peak, a scandalous relationship drama and a mysterious 6-month disappearance where everyone thought he just quit.
And that disappearance is the key to understanding him. But you can't understand why he vanished if you don't understand where he started. The stakes were always life or death for him, metaphorically speaking.
So let's go back to the beginning. San Juan, Puerto Rico. When I see travel ads for Puerto Rico, it's all beaches and cocktails. But that wasn't Benito's reality, was it?
Far from it. We need to be specific here.
Yeah.
He grew up in the Anorante Sur neighborhood of Vega Baja, which is west of San Juan. This isn't the tourist zone. This is a working-class, incredibly tough environment. The economic situation in Puerto Rico during his childhood was dire.
I mean, like the recession and all that.
Yes, recession, lack of infrastructure, very limited opportunities. You aren't growing up thinking about stardom in that environment. You're thinking about survival.
Right, and I've read that he wasn't exactly the golden child either. There's this narrative out there that he was just a quiet, artistic kid, but there's a real rebellious streak, wasn't there?
Absolutely. You have to look at the environment. When opportunities are scarce, frustration builds. He was skipping school. He was getting into petty trouble.
Just drifting.
He was drifting. It's a very common story in neighborhoods like Almirante Sur. You have all this energy and literally nowhere to put it.
So how does a kid who is skipping school and potentially heading down a pretty bad path pivot to music? And not just music, but this specific sound. Because early Bad Bunny doesn't sound like the polished pop star we hear today.
That is the crucial distinction.
Yeah.
He didn't start out trying to be Daddy Yankee. He started out making Latin trap.
Right. And for our listeners who might not know the exact nuance, what's the difference?
Well, reggaeton is dance music. It's upbeat, it's for the club. Trap is entirely different. It's slower, it's darker, it's heavily influenced by Southern U.S. hip-hop.
It's moodier.
Exactly. It's mood music. It's the sound of the struggle.
So he's working at the Econo supermarket, bagging groceries, and then going home and pouring all that frustration into these dark, gritty SoundCloud tracks.
Yes. And that's exactly why it worked. He wasn't trying to sell a fantasy. He was documenting the reality of his neighborhood.
His voice is so distinct on those early tracks, too.
His voice, that low, baritone, almost slurred delivery, it wasn't professional by industry standards at all. It was raw. It sounded like the street. And in the massive noise of YouTube and SoundCloud, that authenticity just cut right through.
Okay, so he's building this buzz, he's getting some views online, he's becoming the local hero. But this is where the story usually takes a turn that gets scrubbed from all the documentaries. We have to talk about 2017.
The lost chapter.
Right, because most people think it was a straight, easy line from the supermarket to the Billboard charts. But there was this incident in 2017 involving a physical altercation.
A very serious altercation. We are talking about a fight that landed him in jail for a few days. Now think about the timing of that. He's just starting to get traction. He's finally playing local gigs. And suddenly, he's behind bars.
But wait, I have to ask, in the rap world, isn't a rap sheet sometimes considered, street cred? Why was this such a massive big deal for him?
That's a huge misconception, especially when you're independent and unproven.
Really?
Yeah, if you were 50 Cent, maybe it adds to the myth. If you are Benito from Vega Baja and you haven't even signed a deal yet, jail is a career killer.
Because of the business side of things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It scares off promoters. It scares off potential investors. It makes you a liability. To the industry, it looked like he was just another kid who couldn't handle the pressure and was going to crash and burn before he even took off.
So he's sitting in a cell, probably thinking he completely blew his one shot.
He's sitting in his cell, angry. He's incredibly frustrated. But this is where the psychological shift really happens.
Yeah.
Most people would spiral in that situation.
Yeah, they'd give up.
They come out and get bitter, or they get scared and just quit music entirely. Benito did something else.
He used it.
He weaponized it. He took that anger, that specific crushing feeling of being trapped and judged, and he channeled it directly into his next set of recordings.
You can hear it too.
You really can.
Yeah.
If you listen to his tracks from late 2017 and early 2018, there is a distinct aggression. There's a hunger. He realized he had one shot to get out of that life, and he wasn't going to let a mistake define him.
That is the pivot point right there. And it clearly worked because the industry didn't just notice him after that, they started chasing him. And this leads us to the monumental deal in 2018.
The deal that changed everything.
He signs with Warner Records. But this wasn't a standard, hey, we'll give you a shot, entry-level contract. I was looking at the numbers from the sources, and the valuation was massive. $6 million.
For a Latin trap artist in 2018, that is astronomical.
Why? Why would a major label pay that much for a guy who was just an independent artist from SoundCloud?
Leverage. This is the ultimate business lesson here. Because he had built his own massive audience on SoundCloud and YouTube, because he had the raw data showing millions of streams entirely without a label, he didn't have to beg.
He had the power.
He walked into that room essentially saying, I'm already doing this. Do you want a piece or not? That $6 million wasn't charity. It was the price of admission to the Bad Bunny business.
And once that major label machine turned on, wow, 2019 happens, Yandel hits. Then the albums just start rolling out, and by 2022, we arrive at Un Verano Sin Ti.
Which is, without hyperbole, a cultural monolith.
It broke literally every record, the most streamed album of all time by a Spanish-language artist. He surpassed Drake. He surpassed everyone.
It was inescapable.
You literally could not walk down a street in New York, Miami, Madrid, or Mexico City without hearing that album blasting from a car.
It was ubiquitous. It became the soundtrack of the post-pandemic world. But, and here's the pattern we keep seeing with him, extreme highs bring extreme instability.
Always.
While the entire world was celebrating him, his personal life was essentially imploding.
Let's get into the mess, because this is the part of the story that feels like a telenovela, but with real people and very real consequences. At the absolute height of his fame, when he is seemingly untouchable, the rumors start. And we aren't talking about small, harmless rumors.
Like Camila Cabello connection.
Yes. Now, I remember seeing this trending on Twitter and thinking, okay, two famous people, maybe they're dating, no big deal. But it was way more toxic than that, wasn't it?
It was a complete PR nightmare. The allegations weren't just that they were casually dating. The allegations were about infidelity, about broken promises, about him essentially leading a double life.
And this clashed so hard with his established image, right? Because Bad Bunny sells authenticity. He sells this idea of, I'm a sensitive guy who respects women.
Precisely. If you are a generic run-of-the-mill pop star, people almost expect you to be messy.
It's part of the brand.
Exactly. But Benito had cultivated this very specific image of the good guy, the emotional artist who challenges toxic masculinity. Suddenly, the internet is branding him a bad boyfriend, a selfish superstar, a liar.
The backlash was intense. I remember reading massive threads where fans were basically canceling him. They felt personally betrayed.
And that betrayal cuts incredibly deep. When your entire brand is built on genuine connection, and your fans feel like you lied to them about who you fundamentally are, the foundation cracks.
It's not just a tabloid story anymore.
No, it wasn't just gossip. It was an existential threat to his entire career.
So what does he do? Does he go on a massive press tour? Does he issue one of those classic Notes app apologies on Instagram?
No. He does the one thing you are never supposed to do in the modern attention economy. He disappears.
The great disappearance.
He completely ghosted the world.
For 6 months. I mean, in celebrity years, that is a decade. If you stop posting on TikTok for a week right now, The algorithm forgets you exist. He vanished for half a year.
People were genuinely panicked. The industry was freaking
I
out.
bet Warner Records was sweating bullets.
Oh, they had to be. You just paid this guy millions. He is currently the biggest star in the world, and now he's hiding in a bunker. There was a real, tangible fear that he was just done.
Like he was just going to walk away.
Yeah, that he's going to pull a Dave Chappelle and just walk away from it all because the fame had become too toxic.
But he wasn't just hiding, was he?
No. And this is the part that I think makes him a genius, or at least incredibly self-aware. He wasn't hiding. He was healing.
What was he actually doing during that time?
He went back home to Puerto Rico. He reconnected with his family. He basically stopped being Bad Bunny and went back to being Benito.
That seems to be the recurring theme in his life. Every single time he hits a massive wall, whether it's the poverty in Almirante Sur, the jail cell in 2017, or this massive scandal in 2022, he retreats, recalibrates, and comes back even stronger.
There's a fascinating cycle of destruction and rebirth. He realized that the character of Bad Bunny was eating him alive. He had to kill the persona for a while to save the actual person.
And when he came back, the shift was palpable. It wasn't just that the music was good again. The entire vibe around him was different.
He returned with a very clear purpose. This is where we see the distinct shift from the party god to the activist.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Because usually when pop stars get political, it feels super performative.
Very calculated.
Right. It feels like their publicist sat them down and told them to tweet a popular hashtag. But with him, it felt dangerous.
It was extremely risky.
Yeah.
He started actively going after the Puerto Rican government. He started attacking the power company, LUMA Energy, about the constant blackouts on the island. He spoke out forcefully against police brutality.
I remember seeing footage of him carrying the Puerto Rican flag at these massive protests, and he wasn't cordoned off in some VIP section for a photo op. He was right there in the crowd.
And that is the massive difference. He didn't lose his street cred by becoming an activist. He reinforced it. He basically stood up and said, I have this massive global platform, and I'm going to use it to talk about the things that actually matter to the people who made me famous in the first place.
And just a quick note for you listening, because the sources touch on a lot of heavy political topics here. We aren't endorsing any specific political viewpoints or taking sides on the issues he protested about. We are just impartially reporting on the very real shift in his public persona based on the source material. It's about how he chose to use his voice.
Exactly. It's about analyzing his evolution as a public figure.
Do you think the scandal actually pushed him there? Like a mindset of, I'm already a villain in the tabloids, so I might as well say what I really think.
That's a really fascinating theory. Once you stop caring about being perfect for the media, you gain a massive amount of freedom.
You have nothing left to lose.
Right. He realized he couldn't please everyone, so he decided to please his own conscience.
Mm.
He totally redefined what a superstar looks like. You can be the guy twerking in the music video, and you could also be the guy leading the revolution in the streets.
It's a wild duality.
It's complexity.
Wow.
And honestly, we aren't used to complex celebrities anymore. We want them to be just one easily digestible thing.
So if we step back and look at this whole arc, the kid from the rough neighborhoods, the jailbird, the sensitive artist, the alleged cheater, the activist, it's a lot to process.
It is a massive amount to process. And the secret history we've been talking about isn't really a secret in the traditional sense. It's just the parts that don't fit into the clean corporate narrative.
Right, the PR narrative.
The jail time and the Camila Cabello mess, those are the scars.
But the scars are what make the story actually interesting.
Exactly. Resilience isn't about never falling down. It's about how you navigate the fall. Bad Bunny's legacy isn't just un verano Sinte breaking streaming records. His real legacy is that he survived the music industry machine that tries to crush absolutely everyone who enters it.
So here is the question for everyone listening, and I really want you to mull this over on your own. Knowing what you know, now knowing about the jail stint in 2017, the messy relationship drama that shattered his good guy image, and that calculated disappearance, does it change how you see him?
That really is the big question. Do you view Bad Bunny as a genuine role model who overcame incredible, almost impossible adversity? Or is he just another messy celebrity who makes great bangers, and we forgive him because we like to dance to the songs?
And to build on that, is the activism real, or is it just the next phase of the brand? It's tough to say. But here is a final provocative thought for you to explore. If the trauma and the mistakes fueled his greatest work, would he even be the icon he is today if he had stayed on the straight and narrow path?
Wow. It definitely changes how you hear the lyrics, that's for sure.
Hmm.
When he sings about pain now, you know exactly where that pain is coming from.
100%. Next time you stream the album, just remember, you aren't just listening to a polished product. You're listening to a survivor.
Well said.
We hope this deep dive made you rethink the stories behind your favorite artists, because like we always say, there's always more than meets the eye.
Always.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one. Stay curious.